All right, so now we're going to start the ecology unit. And to start off the ecology unit, we're going to look at levels of organization, which should look kind of familiar as to what we did in cells with the level of organization of cells. Because we started with cells, the smallest thing. And then if you add two cells together, you get tissues. If you add two tissues together, you get organs. Two or more organs together, you get an organ system. Add some organ systems together, you get an organism, and we're going to build from there. And so let's go to the anticipation guide 1 and 2. On the right-hand side, left-hand side, right, true or false. A population includes a group of the same species, true or false. And number 2, ecology is the study of the differences between living things and their environment. Now flip back to the notes, and we're going to start with ecology. What is ecology? It is the study of the relationships between living things and their environment. Now what we're going to look at, and I'm going to really focus on this as an example, is in Hawaii we've got this turtle, baby turtles, and eggs, and then you're going to have the non-living thing, which is right here. That's the soda plastic thing that holds the soda cans together. All right, so what we were just looking at is kind of like the environment. The environment is made up of biotic and abiotic things. What is biotic? Bio is like living. Anytime you see bio, think of living, like living environment. Biology, we're looking at the living environment. Whereas you have biotic, living things in an environment, like organisms are living things or biotic beings. And then you have abiotic, which is the non-living things in the environment, like the plastic circle thing for sodas. All right, so here we get into the 5 levels of organization. Like I said before, we started with the organization levels of cells, where you have one cell, add more than one cell, you get a tissue, add more than one tissue, you get an organ, add more than one organ, you get an organ system, add more than one organ system, you get an organism. So we're going to start from there and build from there for ecology. An organism is a living thing. That's that biotic factor. Every organism has its own home. So the home for a living thing is called a habitat. Just like going and staying in your room. Your room is your habitat. That's your home. Examples, organisms are like humans, turtles, and sponges. Yes, sponges are organisms. They are living things. Some sponges you can think of, like the yellow sponges or the blue sponges or even the green sponges that you may use in your kitchen. Those could be man-made pardon me, sponges, but like loofah type sponges, they're more like the tan beige-ish, natural looking. Those were at one point in time actually living sponges and have been cultivated for that purpose to use them in cleaning. All right. Population. So we went from one organism to now we're going to population. Population consists of a group of individuals of the same species living together. For example, a group of turtles. These are all organisms. They're all the same species. So the same species of turtles is a population. Kind of like the same species of deer can be considered a herd, and that herd would be a population of deer. All right, and then we're going to build from that. So we're going to start with organisms, and then we're going to get a group of the same organisms to make a population. And then we're going to go to a community, which consists of all the populations of different species living, and interacting in an area. So all of these living organization populations living and working and interacting together. For instance, we could have a community pardon me, that involves jellyfish, sea turtles, their eggs, and the baby turtles. And then you have sponges. That is a community. Just like the community in our school, where you have the students coming in with the teachers and the administrators. And when the students come in, they come in with their parents or guardians, people that they interact with, including if you were to go to like games or something, you meet officials, and that's all community, people that work and live together. And then we're going to build from that. We're going to build onto the couple communities. And if you make up a bunch of communities, you're going to then get an ecosystem. So that's the community of organisms and the abiotic or non-living things in that community. So that would make up our school. So the ecosystem would be the school. The community would be the people, the living things, the people in our school, where the ecosystem is the school in general, where we have like tables and chairs and computers and desks, bookshelves and books, all of that, including the water that we drink. That is all the ecosystem of our school. So ecosystems are characterized by the amount of sun and type of soil. That is also part of it. We do get sun inside our school. And in certain classrooms, you may find plants also. That is part of the ecosystem. Like in my room, I have lights, I have desks, I have tables, chairs, running water faucet. And then I have plants, a whole row of plants in my room. That is an ecosystem, my little tiny ecosystem in my room, because I have students coming in. My students make up some more organisms that live in my class, or not live, but like interact in my classroom. All right, and then we're going to go back to my example before. Is in Hawaii, we have the hawksbill sea turtle living in the ocean. Mind you, these turtles, by the way, you can't touch them in Hawaii. Like you're not supposed to touch them at all. So in Hawaii, we have these beautiful, beautiful turtles called hawksbill sea turtles. And their ecosystem is made up of everything in Hawaii. That's the ocean, that water, the jellyfish, the sponges, the baby eggs and the babies, and even the trash, unfortunately. It can make up the trees, the mountains, the sand. All of it is the hawksbill turtle's ecosystem. And then we build on to the biggest part, is the biosphere. So all those communities added together, we're going to get the biosphere. And this is Earth, because it's where life exists. All right, let's hop to the quiz. Ecology, quiz 1. So which item would be classified as an abiotic factor in the ecosystem? My hint is right here. So you have bird, fungi, ant, or rock. There is an odd one out. The one that is not living is abiotic, and that would be a rock. All right, number 2. A community is different from a population by having what? A community. Does it have biotic, abiotic factors, one species living together, many different species living together, or beginning with one individual? This one is going to be many different species living together, not just one. One species is a population, one individual is an organism, and abiotic and biotic is ecosystem. All right, what would the hawksbill habitat be? Would it be who it lives with, where it lives, what it eats, or when it migrates? Think of your habitat like your room. It's where it lives. Which of the following is an example of the hawksbill interacting with an abiotic factor? Is it when it digs a nest in the sand, eats a sponge, mates with another hawksbill, or gets attacked by a shark? There's only one that is abiotic, that's not living. Sponges are living. Another hawksbill is living. A shark is living. Sand is not. So when it digs a nest in the sand, it is interacting with an abiotic factor. All right, let's put the levels of organization in order from smallest to largest, starting with, you guessed it, organism. And it's going to be all the way down here because biosphere is the biggest. So it goes organism, population, community, ecosystem, biosphere. Now let's think back to cells. If we're going to start with cells, we have one cell. That's the smallest thing in a living thing. So you have one cell. Add a couple together, you get a tissue. Add a couple tissues, you get an organ. Add a couple organ, you get organ systems. Add a couple organ systems, you get an organism. Add a couple organisms of the same type, you get a population. Add a couple different types of populations, you get a community that are interacting together. Add the community with the abiotic, the non-living things, and you get an ecosystem. Add a bunch of ecosystems together, you get the biosphere where everybody lives. All right, let's go back to the anticipation guide on the left-hand side. A population includes a group of the same species. True or false? This is absolutely true. Population is a group of the same individuals, such as a group of people, a group of deer, a group of the turtles. All right, ecology is the study of the differences between living things in their environment. This one's false. It's not differences. It's their relationships between living things in the environment. All right, let's go back to the summary. An ecosystem is comprised of abiotic and biotic factors, living and non-living things, while a community entails of different populations of living things interacting together. All right, the environment is broken down into 5 levels of organization, starting with, we're going to have organisms, which are living things. The next thing we're going to have is population, which is a single type of organism in a group, a specific type. And then you have community, where you have different populations of different species or organisms interacting. And then you're going to have the ecosystem, where those different communities interacting with abiotic or non-living things. And lastly, we have the biosphere, which is the earth. All right, our ecosystem right here is different and similar to ocean ecosystems. Number one, the biggest thing is we're not in water. Like, the ecosystem is water. We are not in water, though we do have water near us. The water near us, however, is fresh water. It's not salt water, whereas the ocean is the salt water. We have trees, buildings, whereas the ocean doesn't typically have buildings. It doesn't have trees. It may have like seaweed. It has different types of living things. There are living things in both. All right, so that's it for the end of the notes. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I hope you guys have a great day.